Coming up next on We Are Marshall Today, the weather outside was frightful, but winter commencement inside was delightful. Details up next.
Plus, a look back at university happenings in 2010. These stories and more up next on We Are Marshall Today. Hello and welcome to We Are Marshall Today. I'm Dan Hollis.
And I'm Leah Clark Payne. Plans to move Marshall University's visual arts program to a building in downtown Huntington recently caught the attention of U.S. Senator Joe Manchin.
Senator Manchin toured the facility on his first official visit to the city since being sworn in as a senator. The displays of art dotting the first floor of the former Stone and Thomas building show the potential for a future visual arts complex for Marshall University. Senator Manchin visited the site in mid-November, where he told reporters the concept of an arts incubator in the downtown area is a good one.
To have the artists that are being educated living here also right where they work. I just think it's a tremendous idea, a concept that should work, and it's one that has worked around different college campuses.
City leaders and university officials are hoping West Virginia's congressional delegation can secure federal funding to help develop the visual arts facility. The plan calls for moving most of the university's art and design programs to the building, which is located across from Pullman Square.
And that's a really dynamic opportunity to put us on the forefront of the front porch of the town. Really, we would be a gateway to the university. And in all of the economic data out there shows that this kind of arts academic community opportunity, this facility will generate the kind of visibility and economic activity in downtown that will make both Marshall stronger and Huntington stronger.
Art and Design Chairman Byron Cleric says similar projects in other university towns have led to stronger relationships between the schools and their respective cities. The move would require art and design students to travel to the location for classes, but Cleric says transportation shouldn't be an issue.
In the 4 universities that I visited this summer as part of the case study, Marshall is in the most advantageous position of all of them because basically a shuttle drops off students every 20 minutes. Marshall University has a shuttle that drops them off every 20 minutes out in front of the facility. So there's an easy access back and forth to the campus, which, by the way, is only 6 blocks away, so it's not as if that distance is insurmountable.
Marshall University purchased the building for $1.15 million. It's anticipated about $8 million is needed for renovation. And joining us now to talk more about Marshall University's relationship with the City of Huntington is the city's Director of Finance and Administration, Brandi Jacobs-Jones. Brandi, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We just saw a story about the College of Fine Arts moving one of their programs downtown, and we heard about the benefits to the university. What are the benefits to the city?
Well, aside from Marshall increasing its footprint into our central business district, we're excited about the prospect of the number of students and visitors that will be coming to the facility, coming into the middle of downtown. And really, we're pleased that Stone and Thomas has the old Stone and Thomas building has been vacant for a number of years, and that's been the missing piece in our downtown development. You know, 3rd Avenue is thriving. You see the success of Pullman Square and the other businesses that have opened on the retail space on 3rd Avenue. But Stone and Thomas has been left empty and untouched. And so we're excited that Marshall sees value in that. We're excited about the prospect of the number of individuals visiting. And just it helps to further establish Huntington as a creative community.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Pullman Square. When you're looking for new stores or new development in the area, do you take into account students, faculty, staff?
Definitely. I mean, they're looking at who goes downtown. And I was reflecting on when I was a student in the late 90s, rarely did you go downtown. It was really, there were a couple of national chain restaurants, there were a couple of bar establishments, but there weren't a lot of businesses that catered towards students or even members of the business community. And now our downtown is thriving. You look at the service industry that's there in terms of beauty salons and barbershops and nail salons, but then you'll see new businesses that have come up in terms of locally owned restaurants and stores. So I think in some ways the marketplace is kind of taking care of itself, and the city as well as other economic development agencies have been encouraging people to look at Huntington. Typically when they've looked at our population or they've looked at our income levels, the national chains have kind of strayed away from us. They don't really think that the people are there to support these types of businesses, but those businesses that have gone in have been extremely successful with Chico's. I believe there are some other national chains that are going in. So the proof is in the pudding in that the businesses that have started there are being extremely successful, and so that is attracting additional growth and expansion.
Let's talk about another joint project, the Old Main Corridor. How is that progressing?
Well, we're really excited. We're going to begin the 13th and 14th Street phase on 4th Avenue. That will begin this summer. We have about $250,000 of transportation enhancement funds and a $100,000 contribution from Community Development Block Grant to put the new lighting in, the new decorative sidewalks, the potential for bike lanes. So we'll see that to continue. And we're so appreciative of the assistance that Marshall has provided, in particular the College of Fine Arts, because if you look at the beautiful sidewalks that are in front of the Keith Albee, Dr. Byron Clerks did a fantastic job along with his students of designing things that are embedded in what would essentially be just a common sidewalk that's artistically interesting, that shows our rich history, not only with the Keith Albee, but who we are as a community with River and Rail and the agencies that we have. So it's a beautiful marriage of the City of Huntington investing dollars, partnering with the university in terms of its artistic capital, and you're able to walk on that every day.
Well, town and gown relationships are strained in some places. What makes it work here?
I think, for a number of years, Marshall University has been the driving force of our community. I mean, we would be remiss if we did not recognize that for decades. And now that Huntington is turning a corner in terms of becoming this creative community, you're beginning to see new businesses develop. You're beginning to see other agencies from outside of this area on a national scale looking at Huntington, looking at investing in Huntington, moving businesses here. They understand the value of the university and that it's turning out quality potential employees. It's providing training opportunities for existing employees. It's also encouraging entrepreneurs to come forward. And then you look at the potential for patents. The City of Huntington would not exist without Marshall, or not exist successfully. So we understand the value and the importance. Now, there are sometimes bumps in the road. We saw that during our quest to establish a municipal occupation tax. There was some concern from faculty and staff, and an open dialogue occurred with that. But although we did not necessarily see eye to eye on the direction that we were going, again, we continue to work together as with the Stone and Thomas, with the Old Main Corridor. We have a number of partnerships with multiple departments. Just to name a few, you look at the Huntington Police Department and its work with the forensic sciences. I mean, that's a wonderful partnership of they're providing training opportunities for some of our officers. We're providing case studies. We're also, a number of our officers, as well as our chief, are instructors. If you look at the partnership, again, that we have with the College of Fine Arts in terms of public art, and we had a public art competition with Still of West Virginia, and we're going to see one of Marshall's students, their art's going to be displayed at Harris Riverfront Park. We're currently working with the geography and GIS divisions, as well as the School of Engineering or engineering departments, to provide real-world opportunities for internships and apprenticeships for students to learn about municipal governments and all that goes into it. So I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity that we provide for students to gain real-world experience, and we also are able to glean from the university its expertise.
Well, you are a Marshall University graduate, as you mentioned earlier. In fact, you're a former student body president. How has that helped you, I think, in this relationship with Marshall University?
Understanding the value of both, understanding the role and the importance that the students play in the growth and expansion of our city. Also understanding the struggles that I had as a student. What did I want to see? I wanted to go downtown. I went to high school in Columbus, and I saw the relationship that Columbus, Ohio had with the Ohio State University, like you knew when you were in the campus area. And it's exciting to now see that take shape and take form here in Huntington. And then also to know that students do have a voice, and students have fantastic ideas that maybe we haven't tapped into. And a lot of the design elements and recommendations that you've seen on the Old Main Corridor project, prime example, the emergency tower, that is similar to what is available on campus if someone is concerned, and that's on the 15th Street area of 4th Avenue. That's important, and so one cannot function without the other, and I try to take that into account in our day-to-day decisions at the city.
Brandi, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up next on We Are Marshall Today, 100 shows and counting. Up Late marks a milestone. Stay with us for details.
As you think about your future, who's your competition? Who are your chief competitors? I notice some of you looking to your right and left at your neighbors. You need to think bigger, much bigger. Choose Marshall University. Big enough to matter, small enough to care. Immerse yourself in your learning. Connect with your professors. And have fun learning. That's important too. Find your passion. Pursue your dreams. Marshall University.
Crying, pom, pom, pom. Crying, chaka, chaka, cha.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many?
There we go.
Buzz driving is drunk driving.
He's one of the most prolific composers in the world and recently visited Marshall University for a performance. Marvin Hamlish, who has won dozens of awards for his work, was on Marshall's Huntington campus in early December. He and Huntington native Mark McVeigh wowed a Marshall Artist Series crowd in the evening, but during the afternoon he spoke to students.
A lot of people are into other things, but this is my habit, and we'll be talking to the kids, and I'm going to take any question they have. I'm not here to tell them what to do. I'm here to listen to what they want to do and then tell them hopefully the best way to do it.
Hamlish's work is quite well known. He wrote music for The Way We Were, Sophie's Choice, Ice Castles, 3 Men and a Baby, and won a Pulitzer Prize for a chorus line.
Another award-winning program is available through Marshall University thanks to the hard work and dedication of a group of journalism students. Up Late is a student-produced late show hosted by Marshall staff member Jamie Lafiego. The production recently marked its 100th show, which Lafiego says is a testament to student interest.
I'm so proud to say that we've had more than 80 students work on this show, and to give them an opportunity to get their hands on the equipment and actually do a weekly show that gets seen on a commercial station it's just an unbelievable experience for them, and it's something they should be really proud of.
Up Late is seen on WSAZ and MyZ in the Charleston-Huntington TV market. It's also available on Channel 25 locally and online. Up Late grew out of a television production class taught by Lafiego and instructor Eric Himes. Marshall University has installed a chapter of the prestigious Honor Society Phi Kappa Phi. Honors College Dean Dr. Mary Todd made the announcement in December. Founded in 1897, Phi Kappa Phi is the nation's oldest, largest, and most selective all-discipline honor society. Some of its more famous members include former President Jimmy Carter, Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, and writer John Grisham.
Marshall University is currently on semester break and offices are operating on a limited schedule. If you are visiting the university during the holiday break, please call ahead to confirm your appointment.
And as the university prepares for 2011, it's a good time for a retrospective look at 2010.
Marshall University received millions of dollars in research funding, graduated several thousand students, and experienced a year full of firsts. 2010 started off with a high-tech bang as the university announced its affiliation with Internet2, an advanced networking consortium. Through Marshall's membership, faculty, students, and staff were given access to an ultra-fast network connecting hundreds of research programs around the world. In mid-January, the eyes of the world were on Haiti, where a devastating earthquake left millions homeless. The Marshall community worked together and donated thousands of dollars through relief organizations like the American Red Cross. In February 2010, Marshall University opened the doors of its new Foundation Hall and Erickson Alumni Center. The $9 million facility features a striking rotunda, an alumni lounge, a conference center, meeting space, and dozens of offices. Marshall University math professor Dr. Bonita Lawrence was honored in March as West Virginia's Professor of the Year. The popular professor has won every teaching award given at Marshall and was thrilled with the honor from the state.
Someone asked the chairman if they thought I was surprised, and he said, "Did you see her response?" Of course she was. I was, because the folks that I was the others that were nominated, these people were fantastic, and we listened to all the wonderful things that they had done. It was amazing, just amazing to be a part of it.
The excitement at Marshall University continued through April as the spring football season concluded with one of the largest crowds ever at the Green-White game. Additionally, sports fans were pumped as the university named its new men's basketball coach, Tom Harrion, who took the post in April. Marshall students elected new leadership in the spring of 2010. Patrick Murphy and Samantha Turley won the student government election for president and vice president. Approximately 1,400 students graduated from Marshall last May. The 173rd commencement ceremony featured Marshall University graduate Sean Calebs, who now works for the State Department overseas. He was given the John Marshall Medal for Civic Responsibility. A beautiful collection of cameo glass was donated to the university last year, thanks to the generosity of benefactors Joseph and Omei Matuma.
I look at art glass as color, shape, and I call it real art. And what we had here in Huntington for 20 years is the real art glass, where they put several layers of glass, different color, and they carved it and sandblasted it and came up with some beautiful scenery and themes.
The Tuma's glass collection is on permanent display at Marshall's Drinko Library. The Marshall University family mourned the loss of the longest-serving member of Congress in U.S. history and proud Marshall University graduate, Senator Robert C. Byrd, in June. The Raleigh County native started his political career as a state lawmaker in 1947 before running for Congress in the early 1950s. Byrd's death led to a special election in November when then-Governor Joe Manchin was elected to finish Byrd's term. Marshall's Joan C. Edwards Stadium was the site for the 2010 U.S. Youth Soccer Region 1 tournament in July. Thousands of players and their families visited the Marshall campus during the 10-day event. This was the second year for tournament play in West Virginia. Summer 2010 was a busy one for President Stephen Kopp, who delivered the annual State of the University address to West Virginia's congressional delegation in July in Washington, D.C. The president highlighted the year's accomplishments and outlined plans for the future while meeting with the top officials. They were loud, they were excited, and they were part of the biggest class ever to enter Marshall University. More than 2,000 freshmen started their college careers at Marshall this past fall. Marshall University officials were applauding another milestone this past fall as the undergraduate engineering program was accredited by ABET. Dean Betsy Doolin says the accreditation means students are well positioned for successful employment in the industry. Research at Marshall received a federal funding shot in the arm in September. Breast cancer researchers were awarded more than $1 million from the U.S. Department of Defense. Another $4.7 million grant was given to support Marshall's Center for Diagnostic Nanosystems at the Robert C. Byrd Biotechnology Science Center. The money is being used to develop state-of-the-art diagnostic devices. An old-fashioned device, the bicycle, took center stage in October as Marshall initiated a bike loan program as part of its campus sustainability efforts. Marshall also signed an agreement with the EPA last fall to expand its green initiatives. Marshall received high marks from a national group last fall for its success in graduating African American students at the same rate as white students. The Education Trust said Marshall graduates the same percentage of black students as it does white. A multi-million-dollar healthcare project in Chapmanville, West Virginia is nearing completion thanks to the leadership of the Robert C. Byrd Center for Rural Health and Marshall's School of Medicine. The community gathered at the site in October for a check presentation. The facility is scheduled to open this winter. November marked the 40th anniversary of the plane crash that took the lives of 75 members of the Marshall family. This year's service was on Sunday, November 14th, and featured special speaker Mickey Jackson, who was a coach for the 1970 team, but did not make the fateful trip to East Carolina. Joining us now is Marshall University's Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Francis Hensley. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here.
Just saw a story about 2010 year in review, and one of the great things that happened at Marshall University in 2010 is we had our largest ever freshman class enter.
That's right.
Wonderful program to get them here. I've been working with them now for a semester. The key is now retaining them. Speak to that a little bit.
Well, that's absolutely right, and we have been working on retention efforts, new retention efforts, for a couple of years now. And this year, a couple of things have come to be that we're really excited about. One of those is the new Student Resource Center. And we've had literally thousands of students who have come to the Student Resource Center seeking information. They want a place to get some, find resources. They want information about registration. They need some assistance with an issue. And we've been quite surprised actually by the usage of the Student Resource. We're delighted, but we've been very surprised at how much it's being used. Another thing we're doing this semester is administering MapWorks, which is a survey that freshmen take. And it gives us the information about what the freshman experience is like at the time. And we use that information to interact with students on an as-need basis. A student who's homesick can be referred to resident services. A student who's having problems with class attendance, we can refer that student to the advisor or to an instructor. And it gives us a way to intervene with students very early on, and we hope help them be successful in their first semester.
It's also another first this year was implementation of the core curriculum, changes to the core curriculum. How is that going?
I think it's going well. We're very excited to have the first class come in under the new core curriculum. The very first students are taking the first year seminar, and we'll have approximately half the freshman class finish that class this semester. The rest will take it next semester. We have our very first courses designated as critical thinking intensive, and we'll have the first students going through that this semester. So really, it's been a surprisingly easy transition this semester, and we're looking forward to the results. We'll know when we get some of the course evaluations back, when we get information through the follow-ups that we do through MapWorks, what's the experience been like for students, and we're looking forward to getting some feedback from students.
You mentioned critical thinking skills in a critical thinking intensive class.
Mm-hmm.
That might be jargon for some of our viewers. What does that mean?
It's taking students' abilities when they come in, the ability to judge, to weigh evidence, to evaluate information, taking what those skills they have when they come in, and we hope that we're able to develop those skills by really focusing on that in these critical thinking courses, so that students we will have that kind of skill development in freshmen that we see in seniors. We know that our seniors perform well in critical thinking skills because we have we administer a critical thinking exam to our freshmen and to our seniors, and we want to front load that skill development in the freshman year so that our freshmen can take advantage of having better skills in those areas, and it will apply to all their coursework.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Expediting the process,
absolutely,
so to speak. And quickly before we wrap up, assessment day in the spring, is that already planned?
Oh yes, there's a committee that works on assessment day. They start as soon as the assessment day is finished, start planning for the next year. It is coming up. We hope to have a lot of the same activities, activities for students in their departments, activities for students at the college level, and then activities for students at the university level. We will also have opportunities this year for faculty to interact with each other about best practices in assessment.
All right. Dr. Francis Hensley, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And coming up next on We Are Marshall Today, hundreds of Marshall University students don their caps and gowns in early December. We'll take you there.
From the classroom straight to your computer.
I teach international marketing online 100%. I conduct this class from my office, from my home, and it is 24/7 available to students across the country. I would say this has been one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences, not only for me, for my students as well.
Nationally accredited, affordable, convenient. MU Online.
Prescription drug abuse and misuse is a serious problem. Taking inappropriately prescribed medication is just as dangerous and deadly as street drugs. So it's important for you to know it is illegal for you to share your medication or take medication prescribed to someone else.
Nearly 1,100 students participated in Marshall University's 2010 Winter Commencement Ceremony.
Students who completed their degrees in July and August, as well as tentative December graduates, were recognized. Let's take a look.
I feel like I'm a representative of the faculty, and that since I started, I often get to go to Parents Forum. This is coming full circle for me because I met some of these parents at the Parents Forum, and now I get to see them at graduation and tell them and explain to them what we tried to do.
Welcome to the 2010 Winter Commencement at Marshall University.
It's pretty important. I'm the first one in my family to graduate, so it's more of a family accomplishment than anything. I'm kind of a stepping stone into my next degree, so hopefully that goes well, but this is a pretty important day.
Didn't realize about the Board of Regents until this summer and applied, and I had taken all my college courses already and really had to take no further classes to graduate today. But today I have some special people with me. My dad has a lot of health issues. My sister-in-law is deaf and she's in the audience, and her best friend is dying of cancer and she's with us today.
Without their dedicated efforts, this day would not be possible.
It means that I'm starting a new chapter in my life, and I get to be an adult and have a real job and just start my life, and I'm really excited.
That the work and time spent at Marshall was part of an endless search for knowledge.
And when the dream comes to fruition, it's just fantastic. And this is what I want these bright young minds to do. Find something they have passion about and go with it.
That's why I kind of went into criminal justice. I think there's a crime and punishment, and somebody needs to pay, so just prosecute and make sure that laws are followed out.
Of just being involved, I was really involved in the journalism school, and that is the biggest, most important thing to me. I mean, obviously I have my education, but that time that I had in the communications building, they were really important times and very fun, and that's what I will most cherish from my time here.
You can do it. Anything you put your mind to, you can do it. I'm a single mom. I've struggled to make everything happen, and I've done it. I'm going to keep on doing it. I've already filed for to get into a master's program, and I'm ready to keep on going. Education is so important.
And congratulations to all the graduates. Great job. That's it for We Are Marshall Today. I'm Leah Clark Payne.
And I'm Ben Hollis. Thanks for watching.